Hello everybody, Flamin' Shark back with another video, and today we're going to be jumping into episode 23 of Fate Stay Night and episode 5 of Unlimited Blade Works. So it's funny, the first two episodes of, or was it the first two? No, it was episodes 2 and 3 of Unlimited Blade. The first episode of Unlimited Blade Works was basically just a maintenance episode. It was a mess. And then the next two episodes I recorded back to back because I was really hyped when I watched the second, or played the second one, read the second one, however you want to frame it. And then I did the next one, I want to say the next day. I don't think it was back to back same night, but it definitely was within the span of like around 24 hours. And then I didn't actually get, and then I was slightly ahead on my Fate, and I didn't record another Fate until yesterday morning. So like basically I recorded the Fate and then got it ready and uploaded it right away. It was the next video. And now, on the day that on the night, really the night, it's like 2 in the morning the next day, technically, but, basically about a little under 24 hours later, I'm gonna record another episode because I was like, you know, I'm a little ahead on some videos, it's like kind of messing around with it, and I was just, I don't know, I just wasn't sure what I wanted to record, and, you know, I have some options. I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying Fate, so I want to get back into some more. And I'd love to actually get ahead of this, but obviously I have to keep getting ahead of all my videos to allow myself more free time to use my recording time on Fate, especially because the Let's Play stuff, I do longer videos for the Let's Plays than I typically do for the reactions, so, you know, we get situations where it's more time spent and all that fun stuff. But I am very excited for some more Unlimited Blade Works. Last episode was amazing again. Every episode, outside of the first one, which I don't even count, because again, that was basically just getting us on to the Unlimited Blade Works route as opposed to the Fate route, every episode of UBW so far has been fantastic. Like, it's the intrigue has been there, the twists have been there, all the things that are like really, that Fate does really well have been in abundance. But it feels like it's less character development centric and more like just let's do the thing. Like it feels like every day we get like an interesting action point, and I've been feeling really comfortable, like I said, just, you know, each episode being a full day. As long as it's a meaty day. If we get like a really short, quick day, then I might do a second one or what have you, but just going through a full day has been working out, and maybe the videos are trending a little shorter in that regard. They're kind of in the more like 3-hour range, give or take, and that is what it is. Like I think those are still obviously super solid episode lengths, especially if we're being consistent. I think that's fine, but the idea of getting a day in, you know, we'll make progress in time as long as we're getting a day in each episode. So that's kind of the goal right now, is just to get a day in every episode. Unless a day just starts going, like, unless a day literally is going for, like, 20 million years, but then that might be how we get longer episodes. So, I feel like it's gonna work out. Again, no guarantee on that, but I feel like right now my play is starting just to become just every episode being another day, in the life of, our boy, Emi Yashiro. So, yeah, let's just get it. Let's just jump right into some more Fate. I'm really excited. Also, I just pressed continue. I don't know if this... Okay, continue does work. I just pressed continue. I didn't even think about it. I think continue puts you at the autosave. But yeah, Ghost Waltz, which is a really cool title. So yeah, I can just press continue. That's good to know, actually. Because I've always just been loading the game. Okay, so we're back at the Sea of Swords that, in the last episode, made it sound like this is like what, again, by all accounts, presumably Archer saw after he died. When I come to my senses, I realize I'm in a fantastical place. An endless barren land as far as the eye can see. The unceasing wind blows golden sand into my eyes. There I stand, my mind blank amidst it all. I feel no reason for confusion or panic. I know this scenery. I've had a dream of this before. Yeah, I was going to say, it's not the first time we've seen this because of Shiro's had these dreams about it, even, you know, memory or not, but yeah. So this must also be a dream. I'm lucid enough to simply wait for the end. Huh? A strange feeling suddenly runs up my arm. The sound of metal clanking. When I roll up my sleeve, there's... Command spell? Oh! Oh, I love the glitch sound effect there. That's weird. My arm is now made up of blades. Again, unlimited blade works. Weird. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a weird nightmare. But definitely a play on the dreams you've been having lately. Huh. Interesting. I jump up from my bed. Before I realize that I'm in my room, I check my right arm. It's fine. My right arm is normal. It doesn't feel hard like metal, nor has it become blades. I mean, in the dream, you recognized it was a dream, and then the blade thing happened and it like freaked you out. I sigh in relief. I don't know why I had a dream like that, but it might have to do with the fact that I made a contract with Seba. I think that has more to do with your weird... See, given the weird stuff we learned about Shiro in the Fate route, it is interesting, right? Because in a way, he's kind of like a sheath to a sword, and he's dreaming about a field of swords. It's interesting. It's before 6 a.m. Even though Sakura isn't here starting from today, there's still Saber and Fujine. It's late to start preparing breakfast for the three of us even now. I make my way to the living room, trying not to make any sound. I pause and try to figure out how they're doing on the other side of the sliding door. I hear Fujine's restless snoring and Saber's even breathing. My guard must have gone down as thoughts of what it must look like in there flitter in. I hide my blushing face with my hands and breathe in the cold air from outside. What type of training are we talking about here, Shiro? I shake my head and walk away, but I don't think it's good for my mental health to have girls sleeping under the same roof as me after all. I feel like that's a line from the first route. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's a line from the Fate route. Or something akin to it, of course. Yep. Fujine bows and heads to school. There's still 30 minutes. I'm already done cleaning up, so I should fulfill yesterday's agreement. The wounds from the slash at my shoulder and from when I fell down the stairs have completely healed. On top of that, I have some time, so I train with Saber first thing in the morning. The sounds of our practice swords echo. The clashing of bamboo makes a pleasant sound. Learning by watching others cannot be underestimated. Just picturing an example before I grip my sword makes it a lot lighter and easier to use. Yep. Getting our training with Saber in, which this is all quite on the nose to the Fate route. As usual, Saber repels my attacks without losing her breath. But is something wrong with her this morning? Until yesterday, I would have lost my consciousness the moment I got parried, but I'm able to manage her counterattacks today. Well, when I say manage, I mean I can avoid the worst case scenario where my vision goes completely white, even if her counterattacks are still effective. Hey, baby steps. That's called improvement, bro. I put down my bamboo sword and breathe out the heat built up in my lungs. The clock is already pointing at 8 a.m. Before I knew it, an hour had passed since I started training with Saber. Since my body was able to react better to Saber's sword, and probably also because she didn't seem to have it in her, it was easy to get carried away and lose track of time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it has to do with the events of last night. A lot of crazy shit did go down. Involving Caster and Assassin and Archer and yourself and us. There was a lot of people at play, mostly servants.
技量が上がってるって、俺の?
Saber nods. Well, it doesn't seem like flattery, and Saber isn't the type to say those kind of things to start with.
それは本当に?
驚きました。シロウの技量は昨日とは別人です。
Huh.
そうかな。いや、そんなことはないだろう。単にセイバーの調子が悪かっただけだ。昨日の今日で腕前が上がったりしたら、市販代は商売上がったりじゃないか。
Huh.
それは同感ですが、そうですね。具体的に言うと、型に無駄がなくなりました。シロウはもともと体は出来上がっていますから、適した剣筋を身につければ、それだけで一段階上の剣士になれるのです。
That's really interesting. Huh.
型に無駄がなくなった。
Yeah, but it's like instinctual. Like, what happened? Come to think of it, my body did move well this morning. It seems as though my sword parried sabers on its own, even though I couldn't consciously react to it.
単にあいつの真似をしただけなんだけど。
Archer?
やはりそうでしたか。私に指示すると言っておいて、アーチャーの剣筋を手本にしたわけですね。
Yeah, she was like, this feels familiar, the way you're moving.
やっぱりわかるのか。そういうの。
I mean, it's Saber. She's a master swordswoman. But it's also, like, interesting because, you know, Saber even made that comment with, like, enough practice, you could be like Archer, right? And, like, they're playing into this idea that Archer was someone who worked so hard to become who he was, as opposed to kind of being a prodigy. And usually in these cases, oftentimes it's both, right? It's a prodigal individual who also works really hard. But in Archer's case, he worked so hard to make up for all of his shortcomings as a quote-unquote regular person. Which is really interesting. Again, no idea where we're going with Archer as far as who he represents in a historical or mythological context, but yeah, the comps between Archer and Shiro are something they implied in the Fate route as well, but they didn't really lean into it. Obviously, we're leaning into this way stronger here in UBW.
当然です。もともとシロウには基本となる型がありませんでしたから。それに筋が一つ通れば、誰が見てもわかります。
You seem to have picked it up really well based on what Saber was saying previously.
いや、セイバーをないがしろにしたわけじゃないんだ。ただ、昨日はずっとあいつといたから、頭にこびりついたっていうか。
いいえ、私に断らずとも結構です。シロウが強くなる分には、私も文句はありませんから。
Seems fair enough. Liar. It's like, yeah, I wanted you to maybe learn from me, your servant, the saber potato, as opposed to the archer potato that uses swords. What's with this that obviously dissatisfied face?
だからすまなかったって。それにな、セイバーを手本にするって言っても、俺にはセイバーがどうやって反撃してくるのか見えないんだぞ。体格も違うし、手本にするのは無理があるだろう。
Good save, bro.
なかなかに正論です。では、私はあくまであなたの練習相手ということですね。
Answer this very carefully, Shiro. Yes, that's... I feel like I just dug myself into a deeper hole. Hey, I was right on the money. Like I said, you gotta answer this very carefully. And for the love of God, don't make me answer this game. There you go.
この件について追求するのはやめよう。とにかく、少しは俺だって戦えるようになったってのは確かなんだから。
何を言うのです。確かにシロウの技量は上がりましたが、それはあくまで最低限戦えるというレベルです。私やアーチャー、バーサーカーと向き合えるものではないのですから、間違っても単独で戦闘など挑まないでください。
I feel like he didn't need to be told that this won't match Berserker. I feel like that goes without saying. And I feel like he's not arrogant enough to think that about you either. But yeah, it's good to at least tell him about Archer. Saber is firm. It feels like a mentor reprimanding their cocky student, which makes me break into a smile. Well, having such a cute mentor is oddly amusing. I get to school over an hour late, damn. The hallway is crowded with students between classes. It seems like 2C also finished class just now, as many familiar faces file out.
Yeah, お疲れ。なんか知らねえけど、タイガー怒ってたぜ。4次元目は覚悟しとけとさ。
Because you didn't make breakfast.
そうか。今日の授業、英語があったっけ?
We're gonna actually get like Taiga Sensei, like tiger drawings like we did that in the Fate route, I bet. My classmates tell me the very thing I don't want to hear. The moment I sluggishly put my hand on the door. Uh-oh. The history teacher comes out.
おはようございます、先生。
Yes, Kuzuki Sensei. You. Very absent potato from the Fate route. Outside of a very few scenes. Fair enough.
はい。どうも、遅れてすいません。
Kuzuki nods and leaves. Soichiro Kuzuki is the ironclad teacher. Kuzuki Soichiro is the ironclad teacher that teaches world history and ethics. He's also in charge of the student council. Yeah, we know that, but we know very little about him. You know, and like I said, we're... Like, if, like, hypothetically, right? Because it's like, right. So Shiro is the master of Saber. Lancer is that situation. Archer, yeah, Rider. So he would have to be... Well, you see, Lancer's situation is unique as well. Although the way they framed Caster seems unlikely. So it's interesting. And where Lancer showed up, there's definitely... If he's a master, we're almost completely out of masters at this point. I'm very curious what Kuzuki's role in this story is going to be, though, because he's a character that they made a point of, but like Ayako exists as well, and like Ayako, again, I don't know what role she plays, if at all. She just feels like a side character. So like they've used, and like obviously we have you know, speaking of the student council, right? We have buddies there too. So it does kind of get into the idea of like, are there genuine side characters that don't have much relevance to the story but are just kind of part of the life to kind of make this feel more like Emiyashiro's daily life? Or is everyone in here really important, right? So it's like, I'm very curious about characters like Ayako, like Kazuki, and like what roles they might or might not have in the story. Like obviously Ayako got caught up in Shinji's bullshit in this route already and stuff, but like and we had that incredible conversation with her in this route as well that was really just insightful and really interesting, and that was like an optional conversation too, which is crazy. But it does make me wonder, like, how much, like, because it's hard to get a read on how much they're cooking with a character versus them just kind of being a character that's here to fill things out, right? So I'll be interested to see what they do or what they don't do with Soichiro, but he's popping up a little bit more in Unlimited Blade Works than Fate. He was almost non-existent in the Fate route.
Ohayo.
I make my way to my desk and greet people as I go. It's a little embarrassing to show up late like this.
Yeah. 随分と遅い到着だね。
Oh, for fuck's sake, here he is. Yeah, I know that voice. Someone greets me, so I turn. It's not someone. It's a fucking menace, and it's a master to say. Oh, here we go. There. Yeah, there he is. It's Shinji. Strangely, all smiles.
Shinji? どうしたんだよ。お前、 どっか変だぞ。
Hmm.
寝不足か？
I tell him my honest opinion. For a moment, he scowls, then his smile returns. Shinji was strange yesterday, but that doesn't even compare with this morning.
シンジ、お前、まさか襲われたのか？バカ。だから言っただろう。戦わないなら家で身を守っているべきだって。
I guess we'll see where this is going.
うるさいな。何偉そうな口聞いてるんだよ。
シンジ。
何？それとも遠坂と仲良くやっていい気になってんの？勘違いするなよな。遠坂と手を組んだところでお前が強いってわけじゃない。強いサーバントを手に入れて嬉しいのはわかるけどさ、思い上がるのはみっともないよ。
You are really bad at reading characters, Shinji. Like, it's so interesting because I do think that they are going to... I think we're going to get a lot more context on Shinji, and I'm not sure which route it's going to be. It might be both, actually, because he was around a fair bit in the Fate route. Like, we had the big fight between, you know, Ryder and Saber in the Fate route. In this route, it feels like things are a lot different between Shinji and Shiro, but it definitely feels like he's playing a pivotal role in this. And then, so it feels like Ryder and Shinji are going to have a lot to do with this route, potentially. And then, like I said, I've been kind of under the assumption that Heaven's Feel is going to have a strong, like, Sakura presence, which also leans it to me assuming it's going to be heavily about Ryder and Shinji. But to me, it would be a little surprising if Shinji had a big role to play in all three routes. Now, I guess you could argue he didn't have a big role to play in the Fate route. But obviously, like, that Ryder-Shinji fight, or Ryder-Saber fight was big. That was obviously Excalibur and all that stuff. So that was a pretty pivotal moment in the Fate route. So I'm definitely curious as to what exactly they are cooking with Shinji. I'm going to say overall, because I do feel like we're going to get, like, a lot of big reveals with Shinji. Maybe with his family, because obviously the Mato family is that. I think there's still, like, a super off chance that... There's, like, a super off chance that Sakura's a master. I've not ruled that out completely. I don't know how the logistics of that would necessarily work. I don't even think it does, actually. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna do something interesting with Sakura, and and the fact that, like, the Mato family are, like, mage associated. Like, obviously their mage lineage ended with I believe it's their father. I believe it's just one generation. But and obviously Shinji was the elder son, so he was taught like he's the one that's familiar with magic shit, whereas Sakura is, by all accounts, like, completely out of the loop when it comes to things related to magic. But they're gonna do something with her, because Sakura was a relatively absent character in the Fate route, and they're setting her up to somehow maybe be even more absent in Unlimited Blade Works. And, like, the way she's set up, there's just no shot. Like, if they're gonna do that to the girl twice, she's got to be, like, a giant part of Heaven's Feel. So I feel like the amount that we're avoiding Sakura in this story makes me even more confident that she's going to be heavily focused on in the third route. And if it's going to be Sakura themed, I would imagine it would be heavily Mato themed, and it would involve both of the siblings and Ryder and God knows what else. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I just don't know what to make of this, because I kind of, based on my theory, I kind of thought Shinji, because we got a fair bit of Shinji in the Fate route, I kind of thought he might take even more of a backseat in this route and then be super prevalent in the third route. So I'm a little surprised by how much Shinji we're getting early in Unlimited Blade Works. Shinji glares back at me. Now it seems like he's lost all composure, which is really unlike him. The hell? Oh, I thought my game froze for a second there.
君が来てくれてよかったよ。ほら、エミヤが来ないんじゃさ、面白みに欠けるだろ。
Oh, are you actually going to use the bounded field, like, and just despite the fact that you literally said you weren't? That must be all he wanted to say as he goes back to his seat chuckling. Well, that's terrifying. It's lunch break and the classroom gets louder.
あれ、一世のやつもう出て行きやがった。
Yeah, I was talking about Issei earlier, because obviously that's a connection that Issei is a common connection between us and, oh my god, I always forget his name! It's like Soichiro... Is it Kabuki? I don't know if that's right. The history teacher. He must have gone to the student council room again to go nap, who also manages, like, the student council and all that. I made lunch again, so I would like to avoid eating in the classroom.
Huh?
The guys in the class are making a commotion.
おい、どうした？何かあったのか？
I call out to them. The boys are huddled in a secret meeting and look at me suspiciously.
何かあったではござらん。それ、教室の外を見てみるがよい。ただしこっそり、あくまで隠密。
What a weird way to frame it. This is not the time. That it is not. Goto must have been watching some kind of period drama last night, the way he's talking. Yeah, I literally called that out as well. Still, I do as he suggests. What the hell is happening outside? Is this going to be like some Tosaka v Shinji action? They're outside the classroom in the hallway. Someone's acting even more suspiciously than Goto. Tosaka? The fuck?
二重の遠坂だよな。うちのクラスに何か言おうかな。
Oh, is she coming for us?
間違いござらん。先ほどから盗み見ていたが、あちらも同様の草っぷり。さりげなく、しかし大胆に我らが教室を覗いておる。
Damn, the seventh pass?
過ぎるのも7回目。いや、今ので8回目よ。
Now 8. That's crazy.
だよな。こうなると偶然じゃねえ。つうかさ、なんか目つき悪くねえか？
I'm
遠
wondering.
坂さん、もっとこう、普段は涼しげな顔してない？
I always do this. I've been getting a lot better at this, I feel like, in Unlimited Blade Works than I was for a lot of Fate. Of, like, being patient to make my comments until I'm pretty confident that they've actually read all the lines. But I will say that I'm imagining this is also Shinji related. This feels like it's going to be a Shinji, Tosaka, and Shiro related episode because I'm assuming she's found some disturbing things as it pertains to the bounded field, and that goes back to Shinji's comments. But who knows? Could be something completely different. Or, oh, you know what? It might be that she's embarrassed or awkward about the Archer, what happened between Archer and Shiro in the last episode, last night, and maybe she found out or he told her or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of, there's actually a few possibilities, but the more I think about it, I wonder if it's more related to last night than what's happening right now.
お前もそう思う？こう通りがかるたびに目尻が上がってんだよな。近寄りがたくなってく一方だ。
That's fair. I don't think anyone wants that Rin smoke.
ありゃイライラしてるね。なんか気に食わないことでもあったんかな。
待ち人来たらずというより、待ち人気づかずというところ。こう、誕生日にこっそりプレゼントを仕掛けておいたのに、送られたやつは1年経っても気づかないんで、もうブチ切れ寸前といったところであろう。
Not directly, it's indirectly, it's family related, but I actually have an experience recently that's actually quite similar to that. I'm not gonna get into the specifics, but that example was kind of creepy because again, not me specifically, but people in my family, involving my uncle and my mother, I've seen like an experience like this, something similar to this recently, so that's kind of weird.
後藤ってさ、時々すごい表現するよな。的確すぎ。何？お前前世は軍師か何か？
Like they said, or like Shiro said in his internal monologue, definitely been watching some period dramas or something. The guys are saying whatever they want. I timidly look out to the hallway again. She's pissed. I don't know what she's pissed at, but I feel like Goto's guess is right. So, what should I do? She's after me, I'll obediently go outside. She's after me, I don't want to die, so I'll keep quiet. Who is she after? I don't know, so I'll play dumb. That's incredible. All of these are incredible. The third one is all of these are funny. I think I don't like this one. I like this one the least, but it's still funny. She's after me, I don't want to die, so I'll keep quiet is hilarious. She's after me, so yes, mommy, I'll obey, is the funniest, though. And I want to talk to her anyways. Bet the odds are greater than 50-50 that she's after me. What bothers me is how she's acting. You'd think, based on her personality, that she'd just drag me right out if she had business with me, but waiting around more like a regular everyday girl?
放っておきたいけど、そうはいかないよな。何より後が怖い。
Yeah. I get up from my seat holding my lunch. Also, it means we get to interact with Rin. Bracing myself for the interrogation that's sure to come from Goto and the others later, I make for the hallway. Alright, let's interact with Tosaka, I guess.
遠坂、何してんだよ、こんなところで。
何って散歩に決まってるじゃない。お昼なんだから昼食をとるのは当然でしょ。
According to the other guys in the classroom, you made at least 8 passes. Tosaka is acting too suspiciously. She's restless and doesn't try to make eye contact with me. I feel like she's guilty about the Archer thing.
そっか、そりゃ
Or she feels guilty about it. She feels bad
いい
about
場所を
it.
探してくれ。俺は生徒会室で飯を食うから。
I raised my lunch to say goodbye and turned that way.
ちょっと待ちなさい。あんたわざとやってるでしょ。
No, girl, just spit it out. I turned back around.
あのな、遠坂。何があったか知らないが、そんなんじゃわからない。言いたいことがあるんならはっきり言えよ。
Yeah, that. Aw, that blush was cute. Tosaka just stares at me, still unable to explain. Could this be...
昼飯代忘れたのか。弁当はやらないけど、サンドイッチ代ぐらいでいいんなら貸してやるぞ。
んなわけないでしょ、このアンポンタン。
Wow. Tosaka basically screams. The hallway goes quiet at once. Oh, Lord. After a few seconds, everything resumes as if nothing happened, and the color is back in this world. I see. They rejected reality to substitute their own. There's no way that Tosaka Rin, the beautiful idol of the second years and model student moreover, would raise her voice in the hallway, let alone say something like jackass. Wow, bro's like, oh yeah, that can't have been that cannot have been something that actually happened. So what just happened has been ignored and entirely erased from memory. What in the doki doki? Lucky. I wish I could do the same for the past 4 days or so. Yeah, makes sense.
で、昼飯
But
代
then
じ
you
ゃない
wouldn't have
なら
met Saber.
何なんだよ、遠坂。
Or, yeah.
そのお昼ご飯なんでしょ。それだったらついてくる。生徒会室よりずっといい場所知ってるんだから。
It's literally just gonna be the roof, girl. Tosaka says in a roundabout way while peering at me from time to time. Oh. Basically, she just wants to talk to me to have a strategy meeting. You would think, but she's being incredibly awkward about it. And of course it's the roof. Wait, is this really the much better place, Tosaka?
寒い。
The rooftop is mercilessly cold. It would be crowded with students enjoying the breeze during the summer, but it's as desolate as a shopping district on New Year's during the winter. Well, it's not really New Year's, but it is February.
寒い。
Yeah, say it a little louder. See if you get a response out of her for taking you to this desolate wasteland that is the roof of the school building. I say it one more time. Though it's an honest opinion, I'd really just like the person next to me to take the hint.
何よ、男の子でしょ。これぐらい我慢しなさい。
Wow. My objection is shot down right away. It's because you didn't say it with enough fervor. You need to slam your desk, point your finger at her, and yell, Igiari.
エミヤくん、こっち。ここなら風も来ないし、人目にもつかないわ。
She quickly moves to her destination and doesn't make eye contact. I eat my lunch. She must have called me over since she had something to talk about, but she doesn't speak up at all. Even so, when I sneak a peek at her, she's looking at me as if she wants to say something. Well, that's awkward. I keep eating my lunch. There's nothing else I could do to keep my cool. At this point, I don't care that it's cold or quiet. It's just... This is making me anxious. Yeah, that's honestly perfectly fair, dude. Good old generic... I was gonna say visual anime, like Japanese visual novel rooftop, but this is like a trope. Visual novel anime, like this is just a Japanese, like, otaku culture story trope. Since the places where we can avoid the wind are limited, Tosaka is eating her bread right next to me. We're so close that if I move my body even just a little, our shoulders will rub. Doesn't it look like we're eating lunch, like, together from the outside? Well, nobody's around. The only person that could see you guys is me, and I can't even really see you guys. I try my best to keep from blushing. Damn it. Why didn't it occur to me when she invited me in the hallway? It's only natural that I can't keep it together. Though she's my ally now, I've admired her for quite some time. I mean, she is Tosaka, after all. Well, I can't say this to Tosaka since she would just laugh it off, but man, I wish she happened to be more considerate to a case like that. My chopsticks hit the bottom of my lunchbox. Finished. All that's left is to clean up after myself. Seems like Tosaka finished a while ago, and as she is watching me idly. Man. Lunch break is going to end in a few minutes. I guess I'll just have to ask her what we'll do after school today.
なあ、父さん。
Wow. Classic awkward speaking at the same time moment. We speak up simultaneously. Our eyes finally meet for the first time today.
いや、別にない。父さんこそ。
話があるなら先にどうぞ。
It's not too weird for Shiro, but ironically, Tosaka's acting too Japanese right now. They're both acting so Japanese. We talk at the exact same moment again and look away in embarrassment. I love the double ellipses there, that they even appeared simultaneously. Silence follows. The end of lunch break is nearing. I'm relieved and disappointed that we might have to go now. Then... Yeah, she does feel bad about the whole Archer situation. Tosaka murmurs in an apologetic voice.
だから昨日のこと、あーちゃんにはレイジを使っといたから。そうなんで今さら済まされないけど、ごめん。
Oh. I need more context. My frivolous thoughts pause. What happened last night? Oh my god, you fucking idiot. Archer tried to kill me and Tosaka says she used a command spell on him?
父さん。それはつまり。
ええ、協力関係にある限り。絶対にエミヤ君を襲うなってレイジュで命令したわ。
Huh.
だから今後は昨日みたいなことは起きないから。
Wow. And I bet he was not happy about the fact that you used a command spell on something like that, but wow. But that also says a lot. Yeah, that's like a very, like, yeah, I burned a command spell to make sure that my boy isn't going to attack you anymore. That means something. That is a relief. It's a relief, but Tosaka used a command spell on something like that exactly. It's the perfect reaction from Shiro.
そうか。けど、それは父さんが謝ることじゃないだろう。
If anything, it's the opposite because you had to waste a command spell to protect me. Like, that's what he's gonna say, and they're both just being goobers.
あれはあいつが勝手にやった。
And that too.
父さんだってあいつが何をしていたのか知らないんだろう。
うん。けどだからって無関係じゃない。昨日のことはあいつに自由行動させた私の責任よ。
That's fair. She looks down, dejected. This is really unlike her. It bothers me more than the fact that I got attacked by Archer.
わかった。遠坂がそう言うんならそういうことにする。
Yeah, I think he's happy to just move on, especially knowing that now Archer isn't actually going to attack him. Unless Rin specifically orders it.
けど、よくアーチャーが話したな。俺を襲ったことなんて、あいつが遠坂に報告するとは思えない。
Yeah, I wasn't sure about this myself.
そうね。けど、自分のサーバントが傷を負って帰ってきて、しかも魔力が空っぽなら何かあったって思うでしょ？
Yeah, that's fair.
あいつ、隠し事はするけど嘘はつかないから。何をしてきたのか尋ねたら、あっさり白状しやがったわよ。
That does sound very Archer-esque. Like, he's an interesting potato for sure.
お、調子が戻ってきたな。よかった。そうでなくちゃ遠坂じゃない。
That's also fair.
ちょっと、それどういう意味よ？
Don't answer that question.
いいからいいから。
Yes, yes.
それで、アーチャーは？
At least Shiro's smart enough to know when not to piss off Rin more than he already does.
家に置いてきた。なんか昨日から様子がおかしいし、昨日の今日でエミヤ君に合わせるのもあれでしょ？
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to see him either. It's obvious we would just end up insulting each other if we saw each other.
そっか。けど、遠坂、あいつが俺を襲った理由は何だったんだ？
Well, I mean, that was pretty obvious.
それが、敵は少ない方がいい、だって。
He wants to help Rin win the Holy Grail War, and he saw that as a opportunity, and the benefit, you know, the risk reward and the benefits, you know, are better than just continuing to work with Shiro.
エミヤ君はどうでもいいけど、セイバーは後々厄介になるから、
Sure.
今のうちに潰しておくべきだとかなんとか。
And I could understand that mindset, because Saber absolutely is a threat.
昨日みたいに簡単に他のマスターに操られると迷惑だから、ここで切り捨てた方がいいって判断したんだって。
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, obviously, like, it sucks, but I get it. Damn it, I can't object to that. I'm certainly burdensome, falling into Castor's trap like that. He must have figured that the moment I was caught in her spell.
納得いった。それじゃ、この話はこれで終わりにしよう。俺だって悪いところはあったし、そもそもあいつがいなかったら今頃どうなってたかわからない。
That's the ironic thing about the situation. Like, Archer did save him. Like, obviously it's weird because he then tried to kill him after the fact, but he did say that doesn't negate the fact that he did still save Shiro as well.
ほら、愛子ってことで帳消しじゃないか。遠坂がそう気に病むことはないぞ。
Now, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it evens out in the end, but all things considered, especially with Tosaka's actions of using her command spell the way she did, honestly, what can you do other than move on, really, if you're in Shiro's shoes here?
そう言ってくれると助かるけど。
But it's interesting to see how much this means to Rin, for sure. She looks away awkwardly. That strong sense of responsibility must be getting in the way of her agreeability.
お、ちょうどよくチャイムが鳴ったな。
Mm-hmm. Lunch break is over. I didn't even taste anything because of the situation, but I guess this wasn't bad at all.
中に戻ろう。5次元目、遅れるぞ。
Oh, it sounds like you survived Fujine then. Because she was 4th period, if I'm not mistaken. I stand up and head to the door. But Tosaka is still sitting. Is this going to be Bounded Field related?
遠坂、チャイム鳴ったんだが。
She doesn't answer, but she looks at me as though she wants to say something.
少し付き合いなさいよ。一つぐらいサボっても平気でしょ？
Oh. The words a model honor student would never dare say. Alright, I guess we're skipping class again. The bell rings to indicate the start of 5th period. Yet, what are we doing? Drinking coffee at a place like this? On a side note, I had to go buy the canned coffee real quick like.
授業開始まで5分あるでしょ？ 1階の購買からここまで5分もあれば十分じゃないかしら。
Of course, she treated you like an errand boy. She says jump and you say how high. So was the devilish request from Tosaka. Love it.
それでエミヤ君はどうなの？
And how, oh, yeah.
ああ、魔術を習い始めた頃か。確かそんなもんだよ。2年近く親父に無理を言って、ようやく教えてもらえたんだ。
じゃあ足掛け8年か。エミヤ君のお父さんも随分と半端なことするのね。どうせ教えるんなら生まれた時から手を加えればよかったのに。
He's not that type of father, to be fair.
8年前って言えばもう二次成長期後でしょ。そんなに大きくなったら刻印を刻むこともできないし、体もいじれないじゃない。
Dude, this mage shit is so fucked up. Everything about that is just... Like, it's so fucked up. The way they treat their kids in this series to, like, make mages and... Just everything about it is just awful. Tosaka says dangerous things, yes. Well, I know this is the part of her that's a mage.
まあな。前にも言ったけど、親父は俺に魔術を教えるつもりはなかったんだ。だからそういう遠坂みたいにちゃんとした手順は踏まなかったんだよ。
Yep.
というか、生まれた時から手を加えるって何さ。
I don't think we've ever gotten the specifics of this, though. I don't think this is, like, the crest has come up, but the altering the body, like, when you're a baby, like, that, we've not talked about this, I don't think.
言葉通りの意味よ。歴史が古くなればなるほど、その家系の魔術刻印は大きくなる。
Of course.
魔術刻印は形になった魔術回路だから、ほんの少し体に刻むだけで人間の体が拒否反応を起こしてものすごく痛むのよ。
That makes sense.
で、それを少しでも和らげるために子供の頃から少しずつ移植していくってわけ。ついでに中身も無理が効くように苦い薬草やら怪しげな骨を砕いた粉とか飲み続けて体に耐性を作っておくの。
We ingest this powder made from bitter herbs and strange bones to create resistance within our body. Interesting. I know you say strange bones, but I'd almost wonder if it would make sense if it was the bones of your ancestors, as fucked up as that is. I mean, strange bones makes it sound like animal bones of some kind.
まあ魔術使いであるエミヤ君には関係のない話だからあんまり気にする必要はないわ。
Yeah.
今から無理して真似されても困るし。
I don't think he's that interested anyways.
言われなくてもそんな気はないよ。けど、遠坂は大丈夫なのか？なんか聞くだけで痛々しいんだが、その。
Well, that's another reason why they go about it from birth. She wouldn't necessarily remember any of it. I don't know how to explain it. I've never known a normal practitioner of magecraft. But when I went to Tosaka's house, I felt an inexplicable pressure. A family that passes along a long history. Children that have the duty to succeed since they were born. Secluded from the normal world, completely disregarding anything they may want. I bite my lip, daring to imagine how painstaking and tiresome that must be. It is, and that's what makes one of the many things that makes Rin so impressive. Both just her in general, like her as a mage, but also her as an individual, as a person, right? Like, despite everything and despite clearly how fucked up the world of magecraft is in Fate, she turned out to be a pretty damn good person. Which is impressive, because obviously part of Shiro is a complicated character and a complicated person, but he's also an outsider. While he technically is a mage, he is not part of this world of mages in the same way that Rin is. So it's definitely different. I love that face.
そういう心配なんてしてるんだ、エミヤ君は。
God, that's such a smug face, and I'm so here for it. She can be as smug as she want with me.
なんだよ、その意味ありげな顔は。別に俺心配なんてしてないからな。
当然よ。心配なんてされる覚えはないもの。私は好きでやってきたんだから、そこに後悔なんてないしね。そのあたりエミヤ君も同じなんじゃない？
Yeah, I think that's fair. And that's something the two of them actually have in common in all of this.
なんでそこに俺が出てくるんだ
Wait, the same? Tosaka and I? For as different as you are, yeah.
まったく。本当に自分のことはわからないのね、あんたって。
Again, no matter how you try to frame it, you are doing what you are doing currently for selfish reasons, Shiro. And even if you're gonna frame it in a more selfless light of trying to help others and trying to help Saber, right, prevent people from dying, but that all comes from like a certain degree of vanity that you have, right? And that's the thing, is Shiro doesn't have self-awareness of that fact. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing or that he's a bad person because of it, quite the opposite, but it still is coming from a desire of oneself. Right? He's not just because he is a very, there's a lot of martyrdom in him. He's a very self-sacrificial person. That doesn't mean that he's not a selfish person. That doesn't mean he's a selfless person. And it might seem that way when you look at it at surface level, but in reality, he very much does things for himself. And that's okay. Like, that's perfectly fine, especially, but the irony of that is he can actually be too Shiro at times because of that, and that's when he gets into trouble and starts being a little too, again, Emi Shiro, for lack of a better term, champion of justice and all that.
確かに私の修行は大変だったわ。けど逃げ出したいなんて思ったことはなかった。それはエミヤ君も同じでしょって言ったの。
Makes sense.
それはそうだけど、俺は遠坂ほどきついことは要求されなかったし。
Yeah, so he's obviously saying, like, I can't really, like, how can I really respond to that because I haven't gone through the full scope of what you've gone through and your training and, all that good stuff.
バカ言わないでよ。9年間まっとうに育っておいて、それから魔術を習うなんて正気じゃないわ。
So, yeah, she's saying, well, your situation is super weird and unique and fucked up as well.
エミヤ君の日課がどんなものかは知らないけど、それよっぽど危険な鍛錬なはずよ。失敗したら命がないっていうぐらいギリギリのライン。
More or less, that's what his nightly shed activities.
いや、それは俺が未熟なだけであって、本来ならそういう危険なものじゃないんだ。遠坂と比べることなんてできない。
そうね。私だってあなたと比べることはできないもの。
Not in these ways.
魔術の鍛錬なんてね、結局はそういうものよ。唯一共通なのは命を計りにかけてるってこと。
That's a really good way to put it, right? Is that your life is always in the balance, but again, the scale can be tipped in different ways.
計りには個人差があるけど、
Yep.
要はその計りをどれほど傾けられるかでしょ。
That is actually the perfect analogy for this situation.
その点で言えば、あなたは私なんかよりずっと厳しい。
Damn.
私、死ぬような鍛錬なんてしたことないもの。そもそも失敗することがないし。
I love how she's like trying to be all like, damn, like you're so ballsy, and then she manages to frame it as, oh, by the way, I never fuck up. Although, I don't know, what do you call what happened in the prologue, girl? Yeah. He's like, holy shit, what a narcissist. She casually dunks on me. Oh my god. That's crazy. Tosaka basically said that she doesn't know what it feels like to fail, unlike the rest of us. Based. God, I love her.
ほら、そこすねない。今の褒めたんだから。
But you also managed to compliment yourself in the process.
テストでいつも100点取ってるやつに、今回はよくできましたなんて褒められても嬉しかないや。
Yeah, that's fair.
今回はなんて言ってないわよ。要するにね、確かに教えは厳しかったけど、辛くはなかったってこと。だから逃げ出さなかったし、今もずっと続けている。
Yeah, that's fair.
エミヤ君も同じでしょ
？Hard, but not painful. I do think that's like what I feel. I never felt that it was painful or hard. No, to be honest, I couldn't afford to think that. I just wanted to catch up to Kiritsugu. I'll become like Kiritsugu someday. I've kept training to become the hero of justice that Kiritsugu couldn't. Looking back, most of my memories are about the training I did in the shed. I've never regretted that. Perhaps it's because I believe that that was the most important thing to do for myself.
そうか。言われてみればそうだな。俺もそれなりにやってきたってことか。
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I think.
そういうこと。エミヤ君は独学でここまで来たんだから、もっと自信を持ちなさい。
Tosaka says proudly, I'm a bit embarrassed. It's worse when she's happy about it, as if it's her own accomplishment.
さて、話がまとまったところで、少しは真面目な話をしよっか。協力者としてお互いの特技は知っておかないとね。
Well, it's ironic you're talking about strengths, because the only strength that Shiro has, ironically, is strengthening magic.
特技？ああ、使える魔術のことか。
Yeah.
そんなの今更だろう。遠坂は俺の魔術を知ってるじゃないか。
Well, I guess she could brag about everything she can do.
ええ、エミヤ君の魔術は強化だっけ？珍しいとまでは言わないけど、メインに据えてる魔術師はそう多くないじゃない？それが不思議だったのよ。あなた、どうして強化にこだわるわけ？
いや、単にそれしか使えないんだよ。いろいろ試したけど、強化ぐらいしかできなかった。
I mean, that's honestly as good of an answer as he could have responded with. The rest are basic things like making a blueprint and stuff. That's not something to be talking about now.
そう。私のところは転換かな。
We've not actually had a conversation like this with her. Like, we've seen Rin perform magecraft and like do attacks and stuff, but we don't really know a lot about like her strengths and weaknesses and specialties as a mage.
力の蓄積、流動、変化ってところ。そのあたりを基本にして有名どころの魔術は抑えてある。結界作りも教室ぐらいの広さなら形だけは整えられるわ。
Conversion. The aggregation, flow, and transformation of power. Sure. Again, converting that power, obviously, thus the name conversion. And that can be, again, through aggregating, through flowing, and through transforming the power. That's my basic power, and I know all the famous spells. I can make a bounded field the size of a classroom and adjust the shape. Interesting. Again, it's hard for me to judge how impressive that is. Because, again, my context on the Fate universe is literally this game. But, and again, only one route of it, plus a little bit of Unlimited Blade Works at this point. But, interesting. I mean, we've obviously seen her cast spells and stuff. But that's interesting that that's how they're framing kind of her specialty as a mage as conversion. Conversion of power, that's the most basic and all-rounder type. Feels very Rin. In other words, she's saying she can transfer magical energy into any vessel and transform it.
そっか。けど、遠坂、教えてくれるのは嬉しいけど、自分の魔術をばらしていいのかよ。
Well, it's also, like, apparently, if it's so well-rounded, it's also probably, you know, it's one of those, like, low ceiling, high floor type situations where, like, because it's very all-rounded, it's very solid, has very few, if any, weaknesses, but your ceiling of the power is maybe not as high as more specialized fields. But obviously, Rin, that kind of makes it perfect for Rin, because Rin is such a powerful mage in the first place that her own just kind of natural potential and ability kind of compensates for that, while keeping her, you know, as well-rounded as possible. Like, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, from a character perspective, that she would focus on, like, a low-ceiling, high-floor style of magecraft, to kind of complement her own incredible natural ability.
前にエミヤ君、私に教えてくれたでしょ？なのに私だけ隠してるのはフェアじゃないから。
And that's just the way Tosaka thinks. She's very, like, honorable, I guess the best way to put it. Tosaka says and puts her left hand out, and it's interesting because Shiro, despite also being a fairly honorable person, he doesn't expect it out of others, which is something I actually really respect about Shiro, is despite the fact that he wants to act a certain way, he doesn't just immediately assume other people are going to. And I really like that about him, and that's why that kind of goes back to why, you know, in a similar vein to why he wasn't mad at Rin about the situation between him and Archer last night.
この前見せたけど、これが私の魔術刻印。
Yeah, you showed us in a little more threatening situation when you basically tried to use it to kill us,
遠坂
or
の家に
worse.
伝わるのは転換の技法でね。自分でも他人でもともかく力を移し替えたりするのが得意なわけ。
Well, okay, that only just further frames it, because obviously conversion is like a Tosaka family specialty, so that kind of defeats some of the point of what I was talking about, honestly.
普通魔力っていうのは体外に出すと消えるでしょ。魔力だけで神秘は起こせない。外に出して魔力が消えてしまう前に魔力によって魔術っていう式を発動させる。だから魔術にしていない純粋な魔力は移し替えるのが難しいんだけど。
Magical energy itself can't create mystics. We activate the equation called Magecraft. Again, that is such a Nasu line. There are lines in this that, like, it's funny because I've never like read / played, however I don't know the word. I'm gonna say read, I guess. I've never read any of Nasu's works besides what I've read so far of Fate Stay Night, and we activate the equation called Magecraft is such a Fate line. Like, people just don't like write like that. It's such a Nasu thing, and like I've already. It's crazy how just from a little over a third of Fate, I've already like picked up so many things about Nasu stylistically as a writer. It's actually funny. We activate the equation called Magecraft using magical energy before it disappears, of course. So it's hard to transfer pure magical energy that's not involved in Magecraft. Yeah, that makes sense. She stops there and takes out a small stone out of her pocket, which is why she uses objects. Yes, like jewels. Is it a gem? The transparent polyhedron. Wow. The transparent polyhedron reminds me of a kaleidoscope. Big words in that sentence.
例外として、私は他のものに自分の魔力を蓄積できる。
Yep, and we've witnessed this multiple times in the Fate route.
いいえ、自分の魔力だけじゃなくて、他の術者の魔力だって保存できるし、難しいけど、移し替えられるのは魔力だけじゃないわ。
Interesting.
で、その保存場所に一番相性がいいのが宝石なの。
Yeah, I guess like gems have like inherent conductivity to magic in this universe.
宝石が想念をためやすい場、流れをとどめる牢獄ってことは知ってるでしょ?
Okay, I thought we were going to explain exactly that, but whoa, okay. You know that gems can act like a location that are easy to store thoughts, right? A prison that stops the flow of energy. I mean, that description of it, a prison that stops the flow of energy, it's not exactly the same thing as I was saying, but in principle, it acts the same, even if it's a different concept. Because that's talking more about like trapping magical energy inside a gem, as opposed to, I was talking about it being, ironically, very conducive. Like, magic and gems are compatible in that regard.
加えて、ずっと地中で眠っていた鉱石には強い自然霊が宿っている。そういった宝石や魔力を込めるだけで、簡易的な魔術刻印になるのよ。
Huh. That's interesting.
まあ、宝石である以上、一度でも込められた魔力を解放すれば壊れちゃうんだけど。
Which also makes this practice very expensive, because gemstones aren't just things that you find lying around. Like, they're obviously very valuable, and obviously that has a lot to do with like the money that and that the longer you store energy in them, the stronger they come. But when you use them, they can often be like a one use or whatever. So like it's a rough part of the deal here. Tosaka shrugs and puts the gem away. Yep.
一度使ったら壊れるってなくなるってことだろ。宝石なんて高いもの、その度に補充するのか？
Yes and no. That's why you have to be very conservative with how you deploy them.
そうなのよ。おかげでうちは年中金欠でさ。
Based.
遠坂の魔術師は後継ぎになったらまずお金を稼ぐところから。
そうか。うん。問題ってのは人それぞれなんだな、遠坂。
Makes sense.
あ
She looks away as if she said too much. Girl's like, I'm fucking broke, bro. Yeah, I think this every time, but Tosaka's actually really awkward deep down, and that's why we fucking love her, bro. Like, the Tosaka Rin fan club starts and ends with your boy. Like, I am in love with this girl. Like, she is... I mean, there's a long way to go, but she captivated me from day one, and the deeper we got in the Fate route, the more I loved her. Now, obviously, like, I feel like, you know, there were other characters that closed the gap. I feel like Saber grew on me a lot over the course of the Fate route. But Rin is just, she's incredible. She's a queen, she's a goddess, she's the GOAT. She's everything, and genuinely has been pretty consistently my favorite character in this series, which is saying a lot because there are some great characters in this series, and like everything about like Saber and Shiro in the Fate route was so compelling. So I think the fact that Rin is still my favorite character after that really speaks to how much I love her, because I do think that everything they did with Saber and Shiro was just so interesting in the Fate route, and but my heart very much is owned by the GOAT. That was an interesting scene. A lot of cool stuff to talk about there. A little stuff I kind of wanted to spend a little time on it. But very cool. Fifth period is about to end. Tosaka finished explaining things to me, so I asked her about Shinji since he's also from a family of mages.
なあ、遠坂。シンジの家、マトウの家が魔術師の家系だって言うんだけど、知ってたか？
ええ、知ってたわ。
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know that she knows from the other route.
けどマトウ家はここ数十年で衰退したって父さんが言ってた。
Yeah.
今のマトウ家には魔術師としての血脈はないって。それは本当。だからシンジがマスターになったって聞いて驚いたけど。
Indeed. Oh, so she didn't know. Of course, she supervises this land, so she knows all the families with a mage history. She should know that Shinji's a master. Wait, hold on!
遠坂、シンジがマスターだって知ってたのか？
ごめん。私も今朝知ったのよ。シンジがマスターになるわけないって鷹をくくってたのが裏目に出たみたい。
Yeah, that's fair. Tozaka says as if it's nothing. Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, so much for keeping that secret. However, something's off. She was searching for the third master at school, yet she doesn't seem to consider Shinji as a problem at all.
遠坂、シンジはそのマスターなんだろ？
Yeah, I wouldn't underestimate Shinji.
ええ、けど別にどうってことないでしょ。シンジ自身に魔力はないんだし、そう大それたことはできないわ。
That might be true, but like I would never underestimate any servant. Like regardless of the fact that I have Saber and you have Archer, I would not fucking underestimate any servant in a Holy Grail War.
私たちの敵は学校に潜んでいるマスターだもの。シンジはマスターとしての気配もないし、私たちが探している相手とは別物よ。
I mean, the most likely possibility, I feel like, is history teacher boy, Soichiro. But, I mean, in theory, there's Ayako, and, like, if you want to get really crazy, in theory, there's Fujine and Sakura, but, again, there's a lot of reasons why it's probably not Ayako, Fujine, or Sakura, so Soichiro feels... I guess you also have, Issei, but again, mostly because of stuff in the Fate route, it feels very unlikely that's any of those four, which pretty much by process of elimination makes it feel like Sochiro, or a character we haven't met, or someone I'm just completely forgetting about, if I'm just being an absolute dumbass.
じゃあ学校にはすごい4人のマスターがいるってことか。
Apparently.
そうなるんじゃない？まあ、シンジにはおとなしくしておけって言ったから、邪魔されることはないでしょうけど。
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna follow that for long. Another statement that bothers me. Wait, first of all, how did Tosaka find out that Shinji's a master? Shinji might have just straight up told her.
トサカ、ちょっと今朝の話を詳しく聞かせてくれ。
Yeah.
詳しくも何も、シンジの方から話しかけてきたのよ。
Interesting move from Mato here.
僕もマスターになったから、二人で手を組まないかって。
Okay, so he did the same play that he did with us. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this, but I can't stop her now.
続き。その続きはどうした？
You laughed in his face.
続きも何も当然断ったわ。
Mm-hmm.
だっていうのにあいつ、しつこく食い下がってくるんだもの。つい、シローがいるから、マトウ君はいらないって言っちゃった。
Oh, fuck. And that explains the interaction that I had with the boy this morning. Tosaka laughs, recalling it. Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, to be fair, I don't blame it. I don't blame Rin being like, no, I have Shiro, so I'm good. Get the fuck away from me, Shinji. But, yeah. That must be the reason. Nice. That must be the reason why Shinji was acting so strange. However...
それで、トサカはどうするんだ？シンジを放っておくのか？学校の結界って、シンジが張ってるんだろ？
I think she thinks it's the fourth master.
Huh?
Tosaka freezes. I knew it. She didn't notice that Shinji was the one who set up the bounded field.
違うんだ、トサカ。確かに、シンジは魔術師じゃない。けど、あの結界はシンジが張ったものだ。きっと、キャスターみたいにサーバントの方が魔術に長けているんじゃないか。
Oh, damn. It's not just that she's doing the face, it's the look in her eyes with her hand over her face, sprite.
トサカ、お前気づいてなかったのか？
Yeah, he's like really surprised because by all accounts, he sees Tosaka as this like really strong mage, which she is.
おう、あの結界がサーバントによるものだって気がついてたけど。
You just assumed it was the fourth master. She couldn't make the connection with Shinji? I recall how Tosaka was acting until now. I bet she was so worried about last night's incident that she couldn't think about Shinji. This might be the biggest mistake she's made in her life.
まずい。下手したらシンジのやつ。
What's about to happen? Tosaka gets up instantly and glares at the exit. At that instant... Oh, for fuck's sake. What the fuck? What the glitchy Oh, here we go. We're just doing it right now. Dude, this game, just no chill. It just keeps cooking. I was thinking about this, though, because this is a really long, really interesting conversation between Rin and Shiro that I've been enjoying. It's been absolutely fantastic. I love the balance in Unlimited Blade Works. The balance between the super interesting, deep conversations and action. Like, I feel like every episode I've been getting awesome conversations, awesome dialogue, and also awesome action. It's like the balance is impeccable, and it makes me excited to get into every episode, right? Because like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird because I really loved the Fate route, and you guys know how much I love the Fate route. Like you obviously. You can go back and see exactly how emotional it got to me by the end. But I will say, again, we are definitely, like, so far, Unlimited Blade Works is definitely, like, it hasn't, like, emotion, like, we're too early to really see just how much I'll emotionally resonate with this route. But holy shit, like, just the episode by episode interest, like, my overall experience with the Fate route all around was fantastic, but just the episode to episode experience of Unlimited Blade Works has just been so much fun, and it just makes me want to record the next episode. It's the reason why I'm recording this less than 24 hours after I recorded the previous one, and I already did that with the second and third episodes of Fate, recording them back to back as well. It's like, it's just so engaging. And while I do love the Fate route, I wouldn't necessarily say that it had the same feel of just episode by episode, just holy shit. Like, it's just one thing after another, and it doesn't feel like, it feels natural. Like, there's a really good flow to it. It's still a visual novel. Like, we could still go like an hour and a half of nothing happening, but it just feels like, it really makes you feel like, one, we're in a war, because it feels like something big is happening every day. It really, I will say, it feels more like a Holy Grail war in this route than it did in the Fate route. But also, like I said, it just, the balance just feels so good in this route so far. So yeah, time for some drama. Oh, the abnormality. How do I log? What is? Yeah, it is triangle. Okay. The abnormality around this school openly reveals itself with perfect timing. The sky is tinted red. Stagnant red air immediately begins suffocating everything within the school grounds. I love the timing of that. That was so silly. It won't affect mages who can cycle magical energy through their body to ward off this effect, but normal people will pass out, and if enough time goes by, they'll die. So the awkward thing about this is no Archer and no Saber. Neither of them are here. So, like, even though Shinji can't do shit, if we're gonna play this fight, like, in theory, it would be Shiro and Rin versus Ryder, and maybe they could hang in there. And, you know, Ryder's not, like, this just crazy, like, badass on, like, in theory, at least, but Ryder is still a savage. Like, I don't want anything to do with this fight, especially because we already had to barely survive Ryder in this route. Red surrounds everything in the school. The hallway, red as blood. The air, red as blood. Thick air sticks to my skin and creates the sense that this is all just one horrible dream. No, you do have some horrible dreams in this game. In fact, you actually had a nightmare before waking up in this episode. But, no. This ain't a dream, bro. Disgust threatens to rip itself out through my lips. Like coolant, I try to force reasonable, controlled thoughts through my confused and heated brain. I break for the classroom closest to the stairs on the 4th floor. Tosaka stops for a second, hesitant to enter this disastrous scene. It's gonna be a bunch of people passed out. I know how she feels. I don't like it any more than she does. Yep. And we saw something similar to this in the Fate route anyways, like... But, so I'm curious how this might compare. I check the nearest student for their pulse and breathing. There's not a conscious person left in this classroom. The students who were sitting in their seats and the teacher at the podium are all lying on the floor. Most of the students are unconscious, limp, and their eyes are clouded over. The few others, a small handful of students, had more unusual reactions. Their skin is congealing. Ew. As if scorched by cold flame, their skin is stripped of all vitality and shines in the eerie light like melted wax. That's a really cool, a really creepy visual, but a really cool visual nonetheless. Tosaka is breathless before this scene of disaster. We have no time. To get to the bottom of this as fast as possible, oh, here we go. Whoa. This is actually a really tough one. I don't know. You know, like in this route, like the last few episodes, I feel like I've been, easy decisions, whatever. This is a tough one. So search with Shinji with the two of us very easily could lead to us dying. I don't really know how using my command spell to call for Saber. Like, I'm trying to see how that leads to a bad end, and I struggle to imagine a scenario where calling Saber is the bad move. This definitely feels like a search for Shinji with the two of us is a bad end, purely on the fact that I can't, in this particular context, I can't imagine calling for Saber with my command spell is a mistake. That's the thing. Like, the mistake would be using my command spell, but, like, again, the way this game works, obviously, like, there's a decent chance one of these leads to a bad end or a dead end, and I just imagine that because of that, I feel like it's a lot more likely that like getting Saber here feels just like safe. And in this context, right, there could be times where we're in the middle of a battle, we're trying to summon Saber with my command spell, could be a mistake, because, it could be interrupted or what have you. But I feel like in the context of this exact situation, use my command spell to call for Saber feels like the right move. That's the best choice we have. If Shinji's servant set up the bounded field, I just need to call for Saber.
父さん、セイバーを呼ぶ。レイジの使い方を教えてくれ。
ちょっと待って。セイバーを呼ぶなら私も。
No, he's gonna say you already burned one.
父さんは昨日レイジを使ったんだろう。なら次は俺の番だ。セイバーを呼んでどうにもならないなら、その時はアーチャーを呼べばいい。
That's probably the right way to move here.
左手に意識を固めて。目はつむった方がいい。頭の中で自分のレイジの形をイメージしてスルッと紐解くだけでいいわ。もちろん解くときは命令をしながらよ。
I'm excited for this. I close my eyes. I can't take my time, so I clear my thoughts as much as possible. Concentrate on my second command spell.
頼む。来い、セイバー!
It's really good voice acting too. And release the second mark. The back of my left hand burns. Simultaneously, a sudden mass forms. A knight in silver emerges from a space distortion next to me. There she is. Oh, that's sick.
召喚に応じ参上しました。マスター、状況はレイジを使うほどのことなのですね。
Debatable.
見ての通りだ。サーバントに結界を張られた。1秒でも早くこいつを消去したい。
承知しました。確かにこのフロアにサーバントの気配を感じます。
このフロア、4階にいるっていうの？サーバントが。
Interesting. Dude, so this is what I will say. We've been teasing this going back to the last game, or the last route. Again, the master at the school. And obviously this is the work of Shinji and Ryder. But I wonder if we're gonna run into the wrong servant.
間違いありません。ミン、それが何か。
おお、セイバーの感知なら確かだろうけど、それはおかしいのよ。結界の起点は1階から感じられる。サーバントの気配を感知するのはサーバントであるセイバーのが優れてるでしょうけど、こと魔術の痕跡に関しては私だって負けてない。
Yep, so it's the servant, it's the fourth master. The fourth master is on this floor. Shinji and Ryder are on the first floor. Oh, this is hype. I mean, there's two possibilities here for who this master could be, or who this servant could be. It feels like it's gonna be Lancer, though. That seems more likely than Castor, the way they framed Castor in the last episode. They made it sound like the Castor's master is just, like, fucked somewhere. Alive perhaps, but yeah, like...
サーバントはこの階にいるのに結界を張っているのは1階だってことか、遠坂。
No. I think there's 2 different servants in this, or 3 different servants if you count Saber around.
断定はできないけど、私はそう感じてるわ。
2 different servants.
この結界の起点は1階にあるんだって。
Yep. So we have to choose between the 2, huh? Shinji placed the servant on this floor, then one must definitely be a trap. If we make the wrong choice, we will be sacrificing everybody in this school.
リン、アーチャーはどうしたのです？彼がいるのなら、もう少し確かな判別ができる。
それがあいつ、呼んでも答えないの。この結界、完全に内と外を遮断してる。レイジを使うか、あいつがこっちの異常を感知して駆けつけてくる以外ないわ。
Tosaka and Saber glare at each other. This isn't the place for it, though. Think. Tosaka has lost her composure. The best thing we can do right now is, another choice.
よし。
Oh, no. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's kind of weird, because that we made a choice and then did nothing. Are we just gonna get another choice? I'll go search the first floor. I feel bad for leaving the servant to Saber alone, but she should be able to fight by herself.
セイバー、サーバントは任せた。一人で戦えるか？
無論です。ではシロは？
遠坂と1階に急ぐ。俺一人じゃ危なっかしいだろうが、遠坂がいるならなんとかなる。それに魔力感知は遠坂しかできない。一緒に行くぞ、遠坂。
So yeah, theoretically, we're gonna get we're back to Shiro and Rin, possibly against Ryder, maybe, and then Saber against Lancer, theoretically, but it could also still be Ryder. Who knows? Let him cook.
ええ、当然よ。言われなくても一人で行くつもりだったわ。
You don't need to be tsundere about it. Like, let's just fucking go, girl. It's decided. So now...
何してんのよ。椅子の足なんて折って正気？
Yeah, he's gonna harden it.
武器は必要だ
Strengthen
な
it.。
俺は強化しかできないんだから、元になる獲物は必要なんだ。
I swing the leg of the chair I broke off. It's like I'm recreating what happened that one time with Tosaka. Oh, that's sick. My success rate seems to be going up as I easily manage this time, so I grab another leg just in case.
シロ、外に微弱な気配がします。どうやら包囲されたようです。
Huh.
包囲されたって何？
わかりかねます。ですが、外に出て確認するだけの話です。
Yeah, fair enough.
そうだな。戦闘頼めるか？
only fitting.
無論、あなたの盾となるのが私の使命ですから。
Kind of, you're more so his sword and shield, his literal knight in shining armor. Saber jumps out into the hallway.
行くぞ、遠坂。こっちは1階だ。
All right, let's cook. What do we got? Yep. This is reminiscent of the Fate route. I don't remember if this is exactly how they looked, but I remember the weird thingy majigs during the bounded field. Like, there are definitely a lot of similarities to what happened in the Fate route when because this was the part of the story where Ryder blew out part of the school, like just went fucking fucked up part of the hallway. The instant we go out into the hallway, we find out what's surrounding us. Are those bones? Puppets made out of inhuman bones swarm from the other side of the hallway.
遠坂、あれは
ゴーレム、使い魔の類でしょ。
Golems, yeah.
いいからこっち。あいつらはセイバーが引き受けてくれるってば。あんな。
Oops.
セイバー。
I run to the stairs. The sound of Saber crushing the strange bone puppets echoes through the hall behind me. But we'll probably run into more golems. We go down the stairs. It's not far from the 4th floor to the 1st. However, more golems? Yep. Damn you! I smash the bone dolls, blocking my way with the chair leg in my hand. Sick. This is the 3rd one already. Maybe it's because of the horrible state of this place, but I don't even care about the violence overtaking us. Based? My mind has gone numb. Hatred, fear, sadness, cowardice, all of it is locked up in my brain. The only thing I can think of is to make it to the 1st floor. I'll just keep on swinging these two weapons in my hands just like him. And yep, he's thinking about Archer. That's weirdly cute. I'm not gonna lie. Nice. Dude, when Shiro gets intense, his Seiyu just kills it every time. I mow down the fourth body of bones. I saw also in the last episode, I did see a comment that it sounded like Castor's Seiyu recently passed away, which is like really sad. I think it was, yeah, it was Castor, because I think I think it was in response to me coming for Castor's voice. Shouts to her. Rest in peace. Very off topic, weird time to bring that up, but I don't know, it just popped in my head. Anyways, the bone puppet that tried to attack Tosaka from one side crumbles as it crashes into the wall. I think she's impressed. Good, she's fine. Here we go. Tosaka points at a room about 10 meters ahead. There are a few more bone puppets that followed us down the stairs, but we don't have the time to deal with them. I parry the attacking sword with the weapon in my right hand. I love that he made two because he's doing the yin and yang like dual sword action that he learned from Archer. Then slash the exposed body with the weapon in my left. The fifth bone artifice crumbles, but they just keep coming. And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming. There's still more than 10 of them swarming the hallway. Never. I retreat a bit. The chair legs in my hands are worn down. Even though I strengthened them, they're originally just stainless steel. I don't know if they can take one more attack. Now it's like, it's my turn now. She's gonna cook. I'm surprised, but I retreat like I'm told. At that instant, Tosaka jumps out in front of me as if tagging in and throws a gem at the bone creature. Sick. I love that little tag team action. I like seeing the mages do work. Shiro doing his weird, like, mage knight combo, and Tosaka being more of like a proper mage. But I love all of it. Sick. Gotta love some German. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust is a cool little incantation, though. My vision goes white. Was that some kind of release incantation? There are no signs of I guess there's no sign, or there are no signs of destruction in the hallway, and only the scattered remains of the bone figures are there. Sick. That would make sense that topaz is related to some sort of like fire-ish attack. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Involves a topaz gem. Interesting. Yeah, you two actually made a good little team here against these golems. She drops her shoulders in relief, but she only does so for an instant and glares at the classroom. Presumably. Tosaka runs to our destination. I follow her and step inside the red classroom. I swear, are we gonna get baited? See, I figured this was the Shinji stuff and upstairs was the other potato stuff, but it's gonna be really interesting if this is just straight up Sochiro. It's gonna be also crazy if it's neither, and it's actually like one of the other people I've brought up. Or it's just someone I'm not thinking of. This is absolute hell. The air filling the classroom cannot be called a gas anymore. The vaporized blood dyes the eyes of onlookers like paint. That's crazy description. I hear voices of anguish from all directions. This is the source of the bounded field, the place where absorption is strongest. The students collapsed on the floor are entirely different to the students on the fourth floor. The groans that I hear, just my imagination. The fainted students have pale faces and are as still as wax figures. Yep, flashbacks. Tosaka just gazes at the scene, her legs shaking. A clicking sound. It must be to suppress her emotions. Tosaka chatters her teeth as she beholds this horror. She lifts her shaking leg and moves forward. Between the desks, there is one clearly animated person, sitting hunched amongst the fallen students. Mato Shinji looks up at Tosaka. Oh, baby, it's Shinji Mato, as expected. It's weird. So, I don't think I've actually addressed this, but I think because of the fan translation that I had for the first route, and then obviously this is the official one, and it has the names in the westernized order where it goes first name, last name, or whatever you want to call it, right? Whereas obviously they go last name, first name in Japanese. So I'm used to, when I say the full names, I'm used to saying in this series last name, first name. It's actually ironic because I've noticed that with like some Japanese series, I go first name, last name, and with some I go last name, first name. It's actually kind of weird, but like it feels, because I've spent time, maybe I should try, like Tosaka Rin sounds more natural to me than Rin Tosaka. Emi Yashiro is probably the biggest one, though. Like, Emi Yashiro sounds way more natural to me than Shiro Emina. Shinji Mato, Mato Shinji, honestly, Shinji Mato low-key sounds more natural. But I think I'll start trying to say their names first, last, especially because that is the spelling. But yeah, anyways, Shinji's here, as expected.
Shinji, Hanta.
There's no weird nonsense here, because we know that it is Shinji and Ryder doing the bounded field, but I didn't know if they were doing some weird switcheroo nonsense here. A stern voice. He must have reacted to that. Shinji lets out a strangled cry and clambers away from Tosaka.
言い訳は聞かないわよ。あんたがやったことの代償はどんなことをしても払わせてやる。
Based! Tosaka approaches Shinji. There he is.
違う僕じゃない
I think it really is you, but... He shakes his head violently and backs up to the wall.
僕じゃない？よくもそんなことを言えたものね。
It was definitely you up to this point, so unless there was a bait and switch today...
いいから、今すぐ結界を解きなさい。解かないって言うなら、その顔吹っ飛ばしてでも。
違うだから違う僕じゃない
I'm not the one who killed her!
殺したのは僕じゃない
What? Killed who? Bro, I just got so tense all of a sudden. Who? Oh, I swear to fuck. Ayako? It better not fucking be Fujimura. Stranger and stranger. Shinji flees from Tosaka, but not really. He's looking at the floor at her feet. Who the fuck? I'm so scared. I look down. The only thing there are the students lying unconscious on the floor. Other than that, there's nothing else. There's no shots, Fujine, right? It's gotta be Ayako.
Tosaka.
Who the fuck is it? I call to her and point. Unless it's Ryder. I guess it could be Ryder. That would be crazy. But obviously Shinji wouldn't have killed Ryder. That doesn't make sense. A stunned voice. Her anger towards Shinji turns to confusion. The moment she sees the thing lying on the floor, the animosity fades. Maybe it is Ryder? Oh my god! It is Ryder. What did they add? Unless it was about someone else. It did say new servant data added, though. My breathing catches. The thing collapsed. Yeah, I think I could tell from the hair. This has to be. The thing collapsed on the floor is completely dead. This is Ryder. Okay, we have now gone completely. I was gonna say, like, this moment had some similarities to the Fate route. Okay. I did not expect Ryder to just be killed by someone else. I didn't see that coming at all. Okay. Long purple hair. The woman in black, the servant who attacked me, Ryder. This pretty much confirms, though, that The rider reveal, the rider's identity is not, we're not doing, that's a Heaven's Feel thing then. Oh shit. Tosaka's voice is flat, emotionless. This is also the first confirmed servant or master kill of the Unlimited Blade Works route. Then there were 6.
だから僕じゃない。僕がやったんじゃない。結界を起こして誰も動かなくなったのに。ライダーはあいつ。
Yeah. The servant in black rider was killed with 1 blow. What kind of weapon was it? How was she killed? Only 1 blow against a servant? Perhaps a weapon that can distort reality itself to land its blow? It was a single strike to the neck, which was ripped to pieces. Can't imagine how that happened. A spear, perhaps? She must have been caught by surprise, but the enemy must have been skilled to sever her spine in 1 blow. Jesus Christ! No, it was more than severed. It's as if her head was set in a vice and then her neck was twisted, muscle, bone, and all. What the fuck? And now the Bounded Fields rider disappears. At the same time, the red world fades away. It seems like the field was set up by the servant after all. Yeah. So he did the Bounded Field thing. Ryder got killed by the 4th Master's servant. And then the 4th Master at school, or I guess the 3rd, because Shinji's out now. Oh shit, dude. I like it though, because we killed Ryder in the Fate route, and again, if Heaven's Feel is going to be like Mato focused, then that makes sense that we saved the Ryder, all the rest of the Ryder stuff for Heaven's Feel. Makes sense for her to have less of a deal in Fate in this route. That also explains why we got that whole Ryder, you know, torturing us moment so early in this route, because that was really the only big Ryder thing we were going to get. That was just to pacify us, because it's like, hey, you know, Ryder is taking a back seat this route. However,
Shinji, これをやったのは誰?
He didn't even see it. Shinji inches back to the hallway, cornered by Tosaka.
言ったでしょ? 学校にはもう一人マスターがいるって。その忠告を無視して騒ぎを起こしたあんたの落ち度よ。
Yeah, this is definitely on you here.
どうやらサーバントを見殺しにして生き残ったみたいだけど、相手の顔を見たんなら次はあんたの番よ。
Holy fuck.
どんなマスターだか知らないけど、必ずあんたを始末しに来るわ。
I would recommend to fucking run to the church, bro. You better hope Kotomine is, in.
そんなことあるもんか。僕にはもうサーバントはいないんだ。マスターじゃないんだから。狙われるのはお前たちだけだろ。
You underestimate the way that a lot of masters think, and servants for that matter.
まあ確かにその通りか。あんたにまだ霊樹が残っていようと放っておいても害はないもの。うろちょろして見苦しいかもしれないけど、ハムシじゃ人間は殺せないし。
Damn, dude, she is cooking right now. She is shitting all over him.
そうね。あんた次第でここで息の根を止めるのは待ってある。
But I love how threatening she's like. I still am expecting my answer. Because he did do a horrible thing. Like, he did, I mean, Ryder did actually, it was Ryder's magic with the Bounded Field, but, you know, Shinji and Ryder did do that.
ハムシ？僕がハムシ？
Wow. Is he getting it?
害虫に例えなかっただけでもありがたく思いなさい。
Bruh. That's crazy.
マトウシンジは魔術師でもなければマスターにもふさわしくないから。人畜無害だって言ってやったのよ。
Shinji Mato is not a mage nor a master. You're not even an annoyance. Get fucking wrecked, bro.
で、見たんなら答えなさいよ。今のあんたなんてその程度の価値しかないんだから。
I love it. Shinji scrambles back. Tosaka's very presence a threat. Well, I don't even know if she'd actually follow through with her threat. But she's seriously angry. She's lost control of herself seeing this nightmare, right? And it's understandable.
さあ、あんたのサーバントを仕留めたのはどんなサーバントだったのよ、シンジ。
知るもんか間抜け。怯えるのはお前たちの方だぞ遠坂。次あいつに狙われるのはお前たちなんだからな。
この
Oh, she's actually chasing after him? Shinji runs out into the hallway and Tosaka starts to go after him. She stops though. It seems to occur to her that what she has to deal with. No, that's wrong. It's not like it just occurred. She clenches her teeth, looking back at the collapsed student body in frustration. Her expression is somewhat typical of her, but her knees are shaking and her eyes are wavering so much that she looks like she's going to cry. Holy shit, dude. This is an intense... I mean, this has been so intense. And just the Rider death reveal was great. I really like how they did that. And that explains why we were only picking up one servant. Because one of them, the one on the first floor was dead. It was just... Explains the discrepancies. I can't tell if she's more angry or sad. But I'm convinced. She has a strong attitude, can do anything, and is a distinguished mage. But deep down, she is just a girl that acts her age.
大丈夫だ、遠坂。みんなまだ息はある。まだ終わったわけじゃない。
Yeah, there's Saber and whoever the servant is up on the 4th floor.
息があるってみんなに？
I'm very curious if we're about to get an interlude or if we're gonna run up
ああ、
there.
辛いだろうけど、よく見てみろ。みんなちゃんと生きてる。結界もなくなったし、あとはすぐに助けを呼ぶだけだ。で、この場合は救急車か、それとも違うところか。魔術による傷なら、教会に連絡を入れるべきなのか。
I ask in a calm voice. It seems like she was finally able to regain her senses as Tosaka slaps her own face with both hands. Like, yeah, let's get back into the swing of things here.
連絡するのは教会でいいわ。綺麗に状況を説明すれば、後の手配は全部やってくれる。
Seems convenient enough.
よし。じゃあすぐに連絡しよう。
Tosaka nods and dashes into the hall. Her destination must be the office. There's a phone there so she can make a call right away. New servant data added again, huh? There's still the whole Saber thing. I assume Rider related, right? Oh yeah, the other seal, Blood Temple, Blood Fort Andromeda, yep. All this, info there. Anything else that would be potentially here? I don't think so. I don't think it would be anything else. We finish contacting the church and go outside. It'll be a problem later if we're found to be the only ones unharmed, so Kirei ordered us to pretend like we weren't at school today.
じゃあセイバー、相手はキャスターだったのか。
It was Caster.
はい。ゴーレムを操っていたのはキャスターのサーバントでした。校舎に潜んだキャスターを倒しはしましたが、あれは影に過ぎないのでしょう。
Interesting. Interesting. I see. So it means that Caster was controlling those golems from Ryoto Temple. Then there's no doubt that Caster was the one who attacked Shinji's servant. Huh. Really? Did not expect it to be Caster.
学校にいる4人目のマスターはキャスターのマスターってことだな。あいつのことだ。マスターであるシンジを使ってライダーを罠にはめたってこともある。
Is there any chance it's... There's no, like, that doesn't track. The fact that it's Caster's master actually really throws me off, though. I was not expecting that. Interesting. Because, again, the Lancer situation is complicated. And we don't really fully understand the Lancer situation. Caster, we don't really know what's up with her master. And then that's it, right? Yeah, because Shiro, Rin, Shinji, Caster, and Iliasville.
そうでしょうね。シローの話では、ライダーは一撃で首を切られている。何らかの理由で動きを封じられ、無抵抗なまま倒されたとしか思えない。
But we don't know for sure.
厄介だな。でもまあ、何せよ、キャスターのマスターが学校にいるってことは分かったんだ。
Yeah, that's something.
無駄だったわけでもない。
I turned to Tosaka for confirmation. Tosaka only stares back at me silently. Ever since we left the classroom, she's been looking at me as if she wants to say something.
遠坂、言いたいことがあるなら言えって。お前に黙ってられると、なんか背中がムズムズする。
Yeah, bro was already dealing with that at lunch. I get worried about when I'll get hit from behind. Wow. Tosaka still stares at me for a while, then with a serious expression.
エミヤくん冷静なのね。意外だった。
Yeah, he handled the situation very well. It feels like he's progressing a lot faster in this route as well compared to the Fate route. She says.
冷静じゃないぞ。俺だって目の前が真っ赤になった。怒りで我を忘れたのはお互い様だろ。
それでもみんなの傷を把握してたじゃない。私にはできなかったけど。
Yeah, honestly, he was really impressive in this situation.
そんなことか。
Jesus.
別に大したことじゃない。死体は見慣れてるから判断がついただけだ。
You would almost think because of his PTSD from the fire that he would actually be worse in situations like that, but fair enough.
死体は見慣れてる?
Yeah, that's definitely something worth asking a question about. We head out. It'll get busy here once the ambulances arrive. So we'll head out back into the forest and make our exit from there. That's when...
なんだ。セイバーがいるとは驚いたな。
What the fuck? Why are you here? Dude, did he kill... Was it an arrow? Did bro kill Ryder? On the way out back, we run into that tardy bastard. It's really not his fault, but...
あーちゃん、あんた今頃やってきて何のつもりよ。
決まっているだろう。主の異常を察して駆けつけたのだ。もっとも遅すぎたようだがな。セイバーがいてリンが無事なら、ことはもう済んでしまったのだろう。
More or less.
もう済んじまったわよ。あんたがのんびりしてる間に何が起きたのか、
Wow.
一から聞かせてやるからそこに直れっていうの。
Fair enough.
どうやら最悪の間で到着してしまった。
God, I love him. Their dynamic is beautiful. The two of them quarrel, leaving us aside. Well, it's more like Tosaka is yelling at Archer while he just calmly brushes it off. Yeah, that sounds about right.
やはり仲がいいのですね、あの二人は。リンが怒っているのはアーチャーを信頼していた裏返しですし、それを黙って聞いているアーチャーもリンに申し訳がないからでしょう。
That's certainly one way to perceive it.
言いたいことはわかる。けど、どうしてそれをいちいち俺に言うんだ、セイバ
ー。いいえ、シローが難しい顔をしていたものですから、代わりに解説してみただけです。
It's complicated because he has complicated feelings towards Archer, and honestly, to some extent, Rin. I think his feelings are a little less complicated as it pertains to her, but they're definitely very complicated with Archer because he simultaneously hates everything about Archer and yet weirdly admires him at the same time. I don't know what's so funny, but Saber's smiling as if she's figured something out. Oh, that we want to smash Rin, probably. That makes what I was seeing before even more unpleasant.
わかったわかった。次からは体裁など気にしない。それで今回の件は分けということにしておこう。
I don't know what that means.
で、結局脱落したのはどのサーバントだ？
Archer's expression changes. His usual caustic and laid-back attitude withdraws, and in its place is the rational warrior.
消えたのはライダーのサーバントだ。状況はわからないが、キャスターにやられたんだろう。
キャスターに？では、キャスターはどうなった？よもや無事というわけではなかろう。
それもわからない。ただ、ライダーは一撃で倒されていたから、キャスターは無傷だと思う。
Three of us were in agreement on that. Then...
ふぬけめ。所詮口だけの女だったか。勝ち抜ける器ではないと思ったが、よもや、ただの一撃で倒されるとは、まったく。敵と相打つぐらいの気迫は見せろというのだ。
It is interesting though, because we've seen Ryder do like the fake, like cut, you know, the weird like self-wounding thing, blood shit. But yeah, no, Ryder getting cooked like that is kind of crazy, even though she does seem to be one of the weaker ones in this group. He goes back to his usual manner and insults the late Ryder.
アーチャー、ライダーはマスターを守って死んだ。ふぬけなどとあなたに言う資格はない。
Damn.
何を言うかと思えば、ふぬけはふぬけだろう。英雄を名乗るのなら、最低限一人は殺さなければ面目が立つまい。それができぬのなら、せめて命がけで相打ちを狙えというのだ。
Damn.
勝手なことを。それができぬ状態だったからこそ無抵抗で敗れたのではないか。その散りざまを罵るとは貴様こそ英雄を名乗るものか。
I don't know if he calls himself a hero, to be honest.
どのような理由であれ、無様に敗れたことに変わりはあるまい。
Damn. Calling her death ignoble.
まあ、確かに英雄であるからというのは失言だったな。英雄であろうがなかろうが、弱ければ死ぬだけだ。
Jesus, Archer! Chill!
この戦いにふさわしくない英雄とやらは、
Holy
早々
fuck.
に消えればいい。
よく言った。ならば私と戦うか。
Wow! Wow!
お前と？これは驚いたな。何が触ったかは知らんが、協力関係にある者に戦いを挑むとは。
I love it. With you? What a surprise. I don't know what crawled up your ass, but challenging your ally? Nani?
だが残念。私はお前たちと戦うなと令状を下されている。今挑まれては、ライダーと同じく無抵抗で倒されるだけだが、そんな相手と戦うのが君の騎士道なのか、セイバー。
Yeah, damn. Yep. Yeah, this is destined to be the final battle in this route unless something happens to Saber or Archer. The two glare at each other wordlessly.
あーちゃん、そこまでよ。
Wow. Tosaka's quiet but firm order stops them. He's like, God damn it.
セイバーと喧嘩してる場合じゃないでしょ。ライダーは消えて、マスターも一人脱落した。けど、学校にはあと一人、正体不明のマスターが潜んでいることは間違いない。
By all accounts, seems to be Caster's master.
私とエミヤ君の協力条件は、学校に潜むマスターを倒すまでよ。それとも何？あなた、今度はセイバーと戦うな、なんて令状を使わせたいの？
Although, actually with the Lancer thing, I might be... Now that I think about it, did Kirei take care of Lancer's master, like, way in advance? I might be... I'm trying to remember if we got, info on that. Like, I feel like Kirei did say something about that near the end. So, like, I guess it might just be... I guess, for the sake of the story, Lancer's master might just be Kirei, and I might just be a fucking dumbass. Because I know, yeah, like, again, end of Fate route. I actually should check that again, honestly. But, yeah, that's really interesting. Also, I want to mention something. The luck stat is kind of really interesting. Because, like, a lot of them, like, these potatoes don't have good luck. Like Lancer and Archer and like these potatoes really not getting much on the luck stat. I guess like a mage would probably be more blessed by the gods, so to speak. I'm not sure about assassin being super lucky. But ironically, that's like Heracles' like only weakness is luck. I mean, it's still really good, but bro's got like everything going for him. Dude, Berserker's crazy. Even if he is Berserk, which is his weakness, kind of.
そうだな。セイバー殿があまりにも王道ゆえ、からかいに興が乗ってしまった。
Wow.
すまんな、セイバー。私と戦うのは協力関係が終わってからにしてくれ。
In theory, the final battle.
いいえ、私も大人げがなかったようです。凛に免じて今の発言は聞き流します。
That's fair. Saber takes a step back, still glaring at Archer, and stands by my side. Tosaka and Archer also step back to clear the air.
まあ、話は今の通りよ。
Fair enough.
私たちの協力関係はまだ続いている。今日はもう無理だろうけど、明日になれば学校でキャスターのマスターを探すことだってできるわ。
I'm definitely curious to see how that goes.
つまりは現状維持ってわけだけど、エミヤ君はそれでいい？
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that.
ああ、そのつもりだ。それで、今日はこれからどうするんだ？やっぱり竜道寺に行ってみるのか？
そんなわけないでしょう。アーチャーの話じゃ竜道寺に行くのは自殺行為だって話だし、キャスターを倒すんならマスターを探すのが先決よ。
You almost think it'd be smart for the master to also just chill at Ryoto Temple, though.
こうか不幸か、キャスターのマスターは毎日学校に来てる。こっちからつついて警戒されるより、今はそれを続けさせた方がいいわ。
Yeah, because they're either a student or a teacher. I try to think of how she came to that conclusion. Tosaka had noticed that there was another master at school. That must be because there's someone with magical energy other than Shinji. Since Castor appeared during everything, the master hiding at her school would be Castor's master. So Castor's master is coming to school for some reason, because he's either a student or he works there, or she, I guess. It means that instead of staying at Ryoto Temple under Castor's protection, they are coming to school defenseless. Yeah, that is really interesting.
つまり、誰がマスターなのか確かめた後、竜道寺に戻る前に襲おうって腹か。
そういうこと。どうもね、キャスターのマスターは私とエミヤ君がマスターだって知らないと思うのよ。
That makes sense.
だって知ってたら学校になんか来ないでしょ。
うん、それはそうだ。じゃあ、キャスターのマスターはシンジがマスターだってことも知らなかったのかな。
Very unlikely.
説明はつかないけど、その可能性は高いわ。あれだけ魔術に長けたサーバントを連れておいて、そんな間の抜けた話はないと思うんだけど。
Unless somehow they aren't Castor's master, but... Right, even I, who has no knowledge as a master, got this far thanks to Saber. If you have a servant like Castor, I'm sure you wouldn't be so reckless as to go out.
それは違う。前提を間違えているんだ、リン。
Yeah, I wonder if Archer's gonna say that, yeah, you're assuming it's Castor's master.
Archer?
Just because we ran into Castor doesn't mean that's Castor's master.
キャスターのマスターに自由意志はあるまい。
That's what they were kind of implying last episode.
いや、自由意志があるつもりでいて、やはりキャスターに操られているのだろう。あの女は人の下につくものではない。マスターなど最初の一手で排除し、都合のいいように扱うだけだ。
Honestly, though, I do think that actually makes Issei more likely than he would be otherwise. So I definitely feels like it's Issei or Soichiro, because Issei is connected to Ryoto Temple, and obviously Ryoto Temple has come up a lot in this game in general, but it definitely could be Issei, and that would be a really See, I think the thing about Issei is that would be more, like, interesting, because I feel like we don't really have much of a connection to Soichiro, whereas we do with Issei. It's Shiro's boy, so, like, that would be, like, a really fucked up situation if it is Issei, and, like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where it goes.
キャスターのマスターは傀儡だっていうの？
It's crazy because Castor also has another servant under her command.
キャスターに騙されているか、自分がマスターだって忘れさせられてるとか？
なるほど。本人が意識していないというのは面白いな。
That would actually make them better to hide as well.
本来、サーバントはマスターには手出しができない。マスターを殺害すれば自分が存在できなくなる。逆に、マスターには霊樹がある。サーバントが逆らえば、最悪、マスターはサーバントを殺すことができる。
In theory.
となると、マスターは排除するより騙す方が安全だ。
Sure. Tosaka ponders on that, but I'm not convinced.
そうかな。キャスターはあれだけの悪事を働いてるだろう。それをマスターに隠しているなんてできるのか。
Or are we just completely underestimating her master?
サーバントが強ければ強いほど、マスターだって警戒心を持つんじゃないか。
Interesting.
その点は問題ない。絵に描いたようなお人よしがマスターであるなら、都合のいい言い訳などいくらでもできる。キャスターのマスターもそういう善人なのかもしれんぞ。
Certainly if it's Yeah, of course. Like I said, a monk perhaps?
何？ここに前例があるからな。
Sure.
キャスターのマスターが間の抜けた人間という可能性とってゼロではない。
Interesting though. They're definitely giving us some things to make me wonder if it's somehow Issei. Him and Soichiro are definitely my prime candidates right now though.
なるほど。確かに
Wow! Holy shit, Saber! Hey! Why are you agreeing with him, Saber? Jealous much?
オッケー、わかったわ。
Yep.
キャスターのマスターがどんなやつであれ、とにかく明日も学校に来る可能性は高いでしょ。
This shot's so much funnier with Archer smirking behind Rin like that. It makes it so much better.
私たちは引き続き学校の調査。で、キャスターのマスターを発見次第襲撃。でいいわね。
Seems like a plan to me.
それが妥当な線だけど、どうやって探せばいいんだ？
それは今日の宿題。各自家に帰って考えること。
Alright.
どのみちエミヨくんとセイバーは疲れてるでしょ。ここで無理して倒れられても困るし、今日はここで解散しましょう。
Okay.
いや、そこまで疲れてるわけじゃない。まだこんな時間だし、今からでもどうさか。
いいから言う通りにしなさい。どのみち今日は学校に入れないし、手がかりもゼロでしょ。ここにいても仕方がないし。何よりアーチャーの様子が変だって気づいてないの？
Wow, she's just like, shut the fuck up and do as I say, dumbass.
昨日の今日でエミヤ君と顔合わせなんてしたらまとまるものもまとまらないじゃない。
Yeah, it is a complicated situation between Shiro and Archer for sure.
わかった。帰る。おとなしく帰るから。その。
Don't get so close and whisper like that. It's making me feel things.
じゃあまた明日ね。もうないだろうけど夜は気をつけなさいよ。またキャスターなんかに連れ出されたりしたらそれこそ承知しないから。
Well, you know Saber is gonna be on much higher alert now.
わかった。わかったから帰る。
それと今日はお疲れ様。ちょ
Aww,
っとだけだけどあなたをマスターだって認めてあげたから。
that's really cute. Tosaka hops back.
行くわよあーちゃん。帰ったら本気でさっきの不始末を追求するからね。
はあ、やはりそうきたか。どうもな。凛にしては口汚さが足りないと思っていた。
Of course.
あんたね、ほんと一度とことん白黒つけないとダメなわけ？
Tosaka and Archer leave, complaining all the while.
俺たちも帰ろうか。確かに少し疲れたし、今日は早めに夕食にしよ
う。いいですね。その意見には賛成です、シロ。
Seems fair. Always good to have the support of Saber. We leave the woods, trying not to be seen. Yeah. I'll pull myself together, go buy ingredients in the shopping district, make a big dinner, and rest my mind and body. That sounds fucking fire, bro. We can discuss Castor and her master after that. Okay, I assume we already bought the stuff. After we finish eating dinner, we're not even getting a description of the dinner? Nani? I receive a call from Tosaka. Regarding the incident at school, it seems like there are a lot fewer victims than we had thought. It must be because Ryder, the servant who set up the bounded field, was defeated quickly. From what I understand, the students that were in the same classroom as Ryder need to stay longer in the hospital, but most of them just have anemia. School's not going to close down, and we'll be having classes like usual tomorrow.
シロ、リンは何と言ってきたのですか？
う。ああ、学校はいつも通りだって。だから、明日も学校に行って、キャスターのマスターを探すことになる。
そうですか。では、あの建物にいた人々に大事はなかったのですね。
All things considered, it was basically the best case scenario, yeah.
一部を除いてはな。あ、藤姉が帰ってこないのは職員会議か何かで忙しいからだと思う。
それはよかった。大河のことですから、明日の朝には何事もなく食卓に座っているでしょう。
Surely we'd hope. Yeah, I'm relieved too. Well, she has extraordinary strength, so I wasn't worried once I heard that everyone was safe.
ではシロ、先ほどの話の続きですが。
Damn, now you're getting a little close there, eh, Saber? Saber leans over the table with a serious expression.
やっぱり諦めてなかったのか。
Oh, is this about going to school? She wants to go to school tomorrow and help us search for Castor's master? I was kind of thinking that you should bring her, but it's obviously a complicated situation, so...
当然です。昨夜のような失態を
Or that!
私はシロの部屋で眠ります。
Yeah, that works
それに
too.
文句はありませんね。
Sure. Of course I have complaints! Having Saber sleep in my room is like telling me to die. Bro, calm down.
シロ、元はといえば、あれほど離れた場所からの遠隔催眠にかかるあなたが悪い。
Yes, guilt trip him into letting it happen.
私ではキャスターの魔術からシロを守ることはできないのですから、せめて同じ部屋にいるのは当然でしょう。
Seems fair to me.
魔術の感知は近ければ近いほどいい。キャスターがシロを狙うのなら、私とて離れて眠るなどできません。
Yeah, you can't just be embarrassed about this. We have to just make this work.
いや、それは全くもって正論なんだが、セイバー。
I don't think Castor would use the same strategy since she failed once already. Failed is, I mean, it did exactly what she was hoping to do. I wouldn't necessarily say it failed, but I generally agree with his sentiment for the most part. That's what I think, but if I were to say that to Saber right now, yeah, she'd be pissed.
甘い。先ほどのデザート、白玉あんみつチョコまんじゅう並みに甘い。そのような考えだからこそ、キャスターなどという土下道にたぶらかされた挙句、アーチャーのような少年のねじれ曲がった野郎に罵倒されるのです。
I don't know what this imagination is, but also what... How exactly are chocolate buns overly agreeable? I'd love for Shiro's mental depiction of Saber to explain that to me. It'll be something like that. Will it?
聞いているのですか、シロ。私が女性だからなどという言い訳は聞きません。
Based.
今夜からシロの部屋で睡眠をとりますから、夜な夜な土蔵などに逃げ出さぬように。
Damn. She's like, I ain't taking no for an answer. Saber glares at me. Oof, she even anticipated that I was gonna run away to the shed. No, she's covering all her bases. She's like, fuck you, we're sleeping in the same room, end of story, good night. I'll have to hold out and try to get her to agree on a compromise.
わかった。セイバーにはすぐ近くで眠ってもらう。
ようやく承知しましたか。ええ、 マスターとしてそれが当然の選択です。
No, it's still a compromise.
けど何も同じ部屋ってわけじゃないぞ。俺の部屋隣に空き部屋があるのを知ってるだろう。襖で締め切っ
ええ、知っていますが、それが何か。
Dude, I love when we get this face from Saber. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, I'm listening. Be careful what you say, your next words, mortal.
その寝込みを守るってんならあそこで十分だろう。いや、そもそも同じ部屋で寝てたら敵だって入ってこない。むしろすぐ隣でセイバーが待機しててくれた方が油断して襲ってきた敵を撃退できるじゃないか。
Get some sort of flying thing in here. Probably a moth or something. I feel like I'm making sense here.
それで十分だろう、セイバー。正直あの狭い部屋で2人っていうのも無理がある。物理的に眠れない。サーバントとしてマスターを寝不足にするのはマイナスだと思うんだが。
Bro is trying so hard to come up with excuses.
今夜はやけに弁が立ちますね、シロ。
Exactly.
わかりました。多少言い訳じみたものを感じますが、いいでしょう。その案で手を打ちます。
Fair enough. Good. Man, being a master is hard enough. If I sleep in the same room as Saber, on top of that, my processor will overheat. Shiro is a robot confirmed? With that, the chaotic day comes to an end. I don't know, I feel like this episode would be a little short. We're in this, like, weird valley. Although, actually, no, I think the episode's been a little longer than I think. Hopefully we go, like, again, I think it's gonna be, it looks like it's gonna be sub 3 again, though. But only a little bit. It looks like it's gonna be similar to the last one. I feel like this is just, because it's like, I really like ending episodes at the end of days, and like 2 days is just too much. So I think we're in a rhythm though, and like if we're posting consistently 2.5 to 3 hour parts is like actually probably perfect, to be honest. But yeah, if I didn't say it, with that, the chaotic day comes to an end. It's becoming a habit to train with Saber until 11 and spend an hour doing my routine in the shed. I get back to my room when the date changes and hear Saber's breathing as she sleeps. I feel myself getting flustered from the thought and try to keep my cool as I get in bed. I close my eyes, shaking away any thoughts, and tell myself to get sleep as soon as possible.
そう簡単に眠れるか、バカ。
I like literally can't go to sleep. I have to like intentionally, like it's a bit of a challenge for me. I try my best not to think about Saber and look back at what happened today. The Red School, a field of blood that would have created lots of victims had we not stopped it. That blows any frivolous thoughts away. The students collapsed in the red classroom. She was desperately burying the sight of Ryder collapsed on the floor and the students that looked like corpses. Yeah, it was, again, quite the visual that this VN portrays with its words. Oh, I remember. At that moment, I was able to find out a deep part of her.
次に会ったら殺すわ。だって敵同士でしょ、私たち。
Though she acts like a distinguished mage, she's never crossed the final line. No, she hasn't. And if a true mage would cross that line, certainly in the context of a Holy Grail war. She's brave, strong, and has a charming regality about her, but she's also incredibly good-natured. Yeah, I've talked about this quite a bit with Rin. She's incredible. Like, it's hard for me to say anything but just simp for her, because she really is just like goated. Like, I love Rin. She is. I felt like, honestly, just from my experience in the Fate route, I feel like just from what we got there, I could already say that, yeah, she's gonna go down as a legendary character for me. Like, she's the GOAT. That difference must be her burden. Yep, it absolutely is her burden. The one area where she fumbles. It's crazy because, like, Shiro is such a reflective character, but he is, like, he is at times not very self-aware. It's so interesting because his internal dialogue is so interesting. The way he looks at the world and he looks at others, but also the way he looks at himself. It's a really interesting perspective to tell a story from. He's a very interesting point of view character for sure. And I think that's what kind of makes Shiro work is that he's a point of view character, which is why I'm curious how Shiro comes across in like anime form, because I feel like what makes him compelling very much involves being placed in his headspace. The more she tries to act like a mage, the more she denies herself.
いや、俺も人のことは言えないか。
I sigh and pull the covers over my face. How do I put this? I'd like to do what I can to support such a perfect girl, damn. But there must be something unscrewed in my head to think such a thing. Wow. We're just gonna end it off there? Interesting. Just thoughts of Rin drifting him to sleep. Very cute. Gonna save real quick, and then we're gonna... Okay, what is February 7th called? Interval level 1. That literally is just a bunch of nonsense that means nothing. That's alright, though. That's fine. Alrighty, that was episode 20, I believe 3? Yeah, that was 23. Episode 23 of Fate Stay Night, and episode 5 of Unlimited Blade Works. That's right. This was a fun episode, maybe a little less intense. Like, we didn't have like a full-blown fight. We had a dramatic scene at the school in this episode involving Rin and Shiro, and Saber was there, and Shinji was around, and apparently Caster was around. Ryder is defeated. It's seemingly Caster defeated Ryder. The first servant in this second iteration of the Holy Grail War has gone down. We are now down to Saber, Lancer, Archer, Caster, Assassin, and Berserker. So, yeah, interesting stuff right there. Definitely didn't necessarily expect that, although, again, it makes a lot of sense because I was literally commenting earlier in this episode about the amount of focus Shinji was getting, and how I was a little surprised because, again, given my assumptions about Heavensfeel, I was expecting him to be rather focused on in Heavensfeel. He got a decent bit of focus in Fate, so I thought it was interesting that he was actually getting seemingly a fair bit of focus in UBW as well, but it looks like we've kind of already exhausted most of that at this point. He got a fair bit of focus early on, but it looks like he at this point, it feels like he will largely be removed from the story, as Ryder is the first servant to fall, and like I said, and then there were 6. Very interesting stuff, though. I like how the Caster seemingly took care of Ryder, and we were kind of just around like that. That was kind of just interesting how that whole situation went down. I think that was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. It was really interesting to see Rin in that situation, to see how well Emiya handled the situation was really cool. Just being a badass, but also just being really composed for the most part in a really tense and situation. And obviously, just the stuff with Archer is just weird in this route, and I'm here for it because obviously things are getting really like tense and awkward with him, and I love every second of it. And yeah, obviously the Shinji problem has pretty much taken care of itself, but next time it looks like we're going to be trying to search for Caster's master and see where we can get with that, which could be really interesting. I'm definitely curious to see what that ends up looking like. It should be pretty exciting. And yeah, like I said, this was a really fun part. I really enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, this episode felt a little less crazy than the last few. But even still, there was definitely some shit that went down in this episode. It's not to say that this episode was lacking action. It just was, we didn't get a full-blown on-screen fight in this episode. which we've been getting pretty much every episode for most of this route so far. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get something of the sort in the next episode when we cover the next day. I wouldn't. That would be pretty likely, I'd imagine. But yeah, again, like I said, I think this is a little bit of a shorter episode, or it might be a similar episode to last time. I feel like I'm kind of locking in, though, to that, like, 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 hour, like kind of a 2.5 on the low end, 3.5 on the high end, kind of, you know, make it through a single day. If a single day is really short, then I'll probably do the next day and then it'll be a long video. But I think that's really the only scenario where I want to go more than one day in an episode at this point, is if we get a really short day. Like if we get a day that's only like an hour and a half, then it'll probably be like, oh shit, I guess it's grind time. But as long as we can kind of hit what I think is a solid, like, still, like, decently juicy episode, I kind of want to just run with that, because I will say, the really long episodes can wear on me, and I'm really enjoying taking Fate literally one day at a time. Like, it just feels natural. It flows well. I feel like these episodes flow really well when an episode's a day. It also gives you guys a decent expectation of what you can look forward to in the next episode, which I think is pretty cool. Because obviously with visual novels, it can be a little weird where it's like, oh, where do we necessarily stop, right? Like, that can always be, like, a weird thing. That's something that's cool about, like, a show, is you have episodes. What the fuck? I think the game just crashed on me. I have no idea what just happened. No, the game didn't crash. I just got, like, booted out of the game for some reason. I didn't touch anything. I don't know what just happened there. Yeah, you guys will probably just have a black screen there in editing. I don't think I'll edit anything in there. But yeah, no, it just booted me out over to, like, Steam or whatever. That was really weird. But regardless, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this was a fun episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the Let's Play. Obviously, we'll get to an episode around once a week anyways, so we'll be making decent progress because I am posting every day. I'm recording this episode, again, technically it's the next morning, because now it's like 4:10 in the morning, so it's technically the day after I recorded the previous episode of Fate Stay Night. But like I said, within 24 hours of filming, and even less of posting the episode 22. So, yeah, like I said, I'm really excited, and I kind of want to just keep grinding. I don't even want to say grinding, because I only want to do, like, one episode a day. But I want to, like, keep fitting in some Fate recordings, because I'm just having so much fun every time I play this game. And even though this episode was a little, I don't even want to say chill. It was really intense. It was less action-packed than the previous episodes, but it was still, we still had a really intense moment or scene or whatever you want to call it. Like, significant chunk of this episode was really intense. So, you know, tonally, it's still kind of keeping up the same energy. But we just didn't get into a full-blown fight in this episode. But yeah, no, I'm having a blast, and like I said, I really do want to get ahead of my recordings, at least for one of my Let's Plays, and it would be nice for it to be Fate. So, I don't know, I might keep recording, who knows? By the time you guys see this, maybe I'll have recorded 3 or 4 more episodes, who knows? Probably not that many, but like I said, I'm trying to get ahead of everything, but anything I can get ahead of is very helpful, and I'm really enjoying Fate, and every time I sit down to record a few hours of Fate, it's been such a blast. I really did miss this game. You know, obviously I was kind of in a weird spot where the remaster was announced and it was supposed to come out, and then we heard no news about it, and I was kind of in limbo, and then they announce it like a week before it comes out or whatever. Like, they announced the actual date it's coming out, and it's like the next week or something stupid like that. And we were kind of waiting on this, and obviously other things, and it was just awkward. Like, a lot of weird stuff happened, but we're back. Everything's good. It's all set. We're gonna go through Unlimited Blade Works, then we're going to play the final Danganronpa game, and then we're going to do Heaven's Feel. It's all set, and I can't be happier to be back in this game and just to have everything rolling, and it just feels so good. Like, it just feels right to be playing Fate Stay Night again. It's been so much fun. I hope you guys are enjoying the LP as much as I've been enjoying playing / reading. Again, I never know which term to use. As much I'll just say reading. As much as I've enjoyed reading this story, because I feel like in the content, I think it depends on the visual novel, because some visual novels feel like there's a little bit of gameplay in them. Because Fate is literally just reading and choices, I feel like reading is probably the correct term for Fate. As much as I've enjoyed reading this VN, I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos on it, because it's been such a blast. And you know, it's such an iconic story in you know, Japanese fiction, and it feels good to be doing this, and this is something that, this is definitely a bucket list item for me, and like I said, I'm glad that it's living up to its stature and its legacy, and I'm also glad that I can say that I've actually read Fate Stay Night eventually. Obviously, I'm not there yet. I can only say that I've read the Fate route up to this point, but, you know, I'm having a real good time, and, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But anyways, if you want to support the channel, the Patreon's down below in the description. Without any further ado, it's time for me to bid you adieu. Flamin' Shark signing out. Hope you have a wonderful, fantastical day, and I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace.